Bobby Bowry, how are we, mate?
Not bad, Roons. Great to see you, mate. You're looking well as usual.
That's it, mate. I've a bit of running, like with the old isolation, mate. There's nothing else to do with all the pub shut, so I've been getting fit myself. That's how bad things have got, mate.
You look fitter than when you were playing, mate. Like proper. You look decent. You look like you're dripping. It's come off you, isn't it? The weight.
I'm getting all nostalgic.
I've seen you have a few glasses of wine on the old with the other people. It was quite a bit of banter there, to be fair.
To be fair, that was a Friday night. I know that was when I done Rambo. I'm going to look like semi-alcoholic because he was in the daylight over there in the States, wasn't he? But no, listen, thanks for coming on in the box, mate. Really appreciate it, Bob. Yeah, first of all, mate, obviously, how's things and how's life without football? Because obviously, football's a big part of your life.
Yeah, it's a strange one, Moons, as you know, with the agency and all the academy stuff. It's kind of it's become like a big part of my life. And to be fair, it's absolutely a standstill, really. You know, regarding ringing people, meeting people. You've got to do everything on the phone. I love being out and like coaching or watching games and that, like yourself. Yeah, it's a big kind of miss. As I said to you, it's a bit of a thing where I've got my boy back now, so we've been going out every sort of third day doing a bit of football. I keep myself fit, and I'm actually trying to get myself back into a routine of trying to keep fit. And I think you probably know that when you're running around doing a lot of things, you actually neglect yourself a bit. You know what I mean? This time, but this time now, I'm gonna use it to help myself and get a bit fitter.
Yeah, no, of course. Same boat as me, really. Right, let's. You know what it's all about by now. Like I say, you've watched a couple. Before we name your team, or before we go through your team, ask this question to pretty much everyone I've had on. Thought process behind the team. What, get as many as your star names in there, or get your mates in there, or did you go in with it with your manager's head on?
I went a bit of both, Moons. I went with, as I said, I think I flipped over with a couple of players which I sent you, and I changed, and I just thought I'd go for a bit of balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a couple of good players in that in my lot, to be fair. But yeah, it was a tough decision. I left some really good friends out as well out of my team. Which is a bit tough. Yeah,
of course. No, that's all right. We can get them. We can give them a special mention at some stage anyway. Right, let's down to it then. In goal.
I've gone for Nigel Martin.
Yeah.
When I arrived at Palace, he was just unbelievable in training. His standards rooms in terms of it's to hurt him if you beat him or you try to chip him in the goal. And he was always going to go and do better. Obviously, I think he went to Leeds and Everton. Top pro, just an overall top man as well. Would always stay out and do his extras. And for me, as a youngster coming into Palace, that was the one thing I noticed, that a lot of the older players at the time were really good pros and good for people like myself and, as you know, like Simon Osborne and others. There was one other, Casey Keller, I thought was a good goalie at Millwall, played for America. Outstanding goalie, but Nigel probably shaded it because he had a consistent career at the top level for me. Yeah,
no, of course. And like I say, I think he went on to play for England there. And he Walks had him in his team. You know, that was towards the end of his career. I mean, how old would he have been when you played with him, Bob? Was he still young or?
Yeah, he would have been about 25, 26.
Okay.
So he wasn't anywhere near his prime. I think his best game in his prime was probably at Everton when he was really good.
Yeah.
And it's one of those where I never really see him have a bad game. Runes. He was just so consistent in terms of his shot stopping, distribution, and he was one of the lads who he actually wasn't a mad goalie. He was actually quite quiet and a bit reserved, but he's just a really good pro.
Cool. No, he's in there. England keeper. Right, it is a back four, I think. Yeah, just double check. It is a back four. Right back. We'll start at right back.
Who did I put down, Runes?
Oh, yeah, you sent it over to me. What was it, last week? So yeah, it's a little bit a while ago. You have gone for Lucas Neill.
This kid was an unbelievable player, Runes. I mean, I can't tell you how good he was. He could play right back, left back, anywhere in midfield, both footed. He came into the building and just had this, I don't know if it was an Australian thing, he had an arrogance about him. He knew he was a good player. Went on to Blackburn, played loads of games for Australia, captained them as well in the World Cup. He was just an absolute all-rounder, could score a goal, assist. He was just athletically, he could still play now in this era because of his athleticism and his natural ability.
Yeah. No, of course. Like I say, I think when I was doing a bit of homework, he made like nearly 300 appearances in the Premier League. So you don't do that if you if he wasn't ready for the modern
Yeah.
game there.
No, he was outstanding. Yeah, really good lad as well. Good around the dressing room. Just another good young pro as well.
Yeah. No problems with that. Right, other fullback. Can you remember you was tossing and turning over this one? I think you texted me a couple of times. You changed it a couple of times.
Dean Gordon has won the battle over Ben Thatcher. Ben Thatcher, unbelievable player, an absolute nutter as well, by the way, off the pitch.
Yeah.
A great lad. I still see him quite a bit now. But Dean Gordon, for me, was he was a modern day fullback 15 years ago. He could he'd run through, smash a goal. I remember a game, I think we beat Portsmouth 5-3 earlier in the season, and he made 3 goals, and it was unbelievable. But his power and pace, and he had a sledgehammer of a left foot. I think his boys actually at Middlesbrough, and he's one of the youngest players ever played for Middlesbrough. I think he might have been about 16 when he made his debut. He was a good player, and I think he went to Coventry. If I'll be honest with you, at the time, I thought he could have gone and played for one of the top 4 with his actual attributes. Yeah, he's you know, maybe people might look at the final ball sometimes, but the ball carrying and the power and 1v1s, he was unbelievable as a player.
Yeah, no, like you say as well. It sounds like what you're saying there, a bit like maybe ahead of his time there as well as a modern fullback.
Yeah, without doubt.
Yeah, right. Well, let's hope you don't bump into Thatch anyway, or hopefully you don't watch it anyway.
Oh, no, yeah, stick it on me. Yeah, he will do.
No, it's all good. Right, centre half time. Very, very good centre half pairing.
Well, who would have thought you'd have had a centre half pairing who went and managed top level national teams? I think it just tells you the standard of them as men as well as players.
Yeah,
I started with Chris Coleman. He was a youngster coming through. He was a couple of years older than me. He had everything. I mean, his power was the key for me. He just built. There was only probably Mark Hughes I've seen really give him a torrid time in terms of physically, but he was a man mountain, an unbelievable person in the dressing room in terms of team spirit, organising a night out for the lads. He was just top man. And even now, hasn't changed that after going and doing so well for himself as a manager. Southgate was, for me, the model pro. I can't speak highly enough of him in terms of when I came into Palace, I was probably a threat to him because he was playing centre midfield at the time. He ended up going to play centre back, going to play for Villa and Middlesbrough. Obviously, you know what he's doing now. I've seen him 3 or 4 times in his England, you know, as a manager, and he's actually come across and come a family and come and say hello to me, and that tells me the kind of person he hasn't changed as a person. But the one thing about those two, they were winners, and in our team that won the championship, that they were very integral. Probably Gareth more than Chris, because Gareth actually weighed in with might have been 10, 12 goals that year, but very, very good players and both thoroughly great lads as well.
Yeah, so they played together that year, won the league then, Bobby?
Yeah, well, Coleman played sort of left back or left side centre half. Gareth actually plays centre midfield, so he was either with myself or Richard Shaw or Simon Osborne, and Gareth was actually the main man in that the year we won the championship. I mean, I can remember a goal we scored against the same game, Portsmouth at home. He ran 45 yards and put one in 30 yards in the top corner. It was an unbelievable goal. But people actually didn't realise how good a player he was. He both-footed, fit as a fiddle, and he was on a player. If you didn't have him in your team, for me, I'd always notice the difference because he was always at 8, 7 or 8 out of 10. Didn't really drop down, but he was just a player who was always there for you. And as I said, what a great person as well. And I think he's doing a great job with England as well, promoting so many good young players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, just on his playing before we talk about the managerial side of it. You know, you're saying there, like I think he played, you know, partnered Tony Adams when, you know, England were pretty rich with centre backs at that time as well. So that told you everything you needed to know, really, didn't it? That he actually went on. He was probably getting ahead of the likes of, you know, your Keowns and people like that who were at top clubs, you know.
Yeah, he was what you call, and he was a steady Eddie rooms. He never made mistakes. Honestly, I mean, he'll always be remembered for the blooming the penalty miss. I mean, I was actually at the game.
Yeah,
dare I say, I was enough crying at the game in the Euros. But, yeah, as you said there, he must have been highly thought of to play for England in that team, which had the likes of Gaza, Redknapp, Scholes, and all those kind of people there. You know, so yeah, it just tells you the level of player that he actually was.
Yeah, no, of course. And I think as well, even I've got probably my hands up. I think I probably wasn't the only one as well. But I think before he got the England job, it was a little bit like, I don't know, he did, probably because we hadn't seen a lot of him in interviews and stuff. But for me, he just come a bit across as maybe like a school teachery type. But you know, ever since he's come into the England setup as manager, he's been, you know, anything but that, and he's been unbelievable. I mean, the World Cup run was just amazing. I mean, it must have been unbelievable for you, like one of your old teammates, like, you know, leading the country. You know, it's the highest level, isn't it?
Oh, listen, it's a really strange one. We went away, I think it might have been Portugal, stayed at Valdalobo, and one of my actual other players in the midfield, we actually roomed with this player, and you could already see that there was sort of not grooming Gareth, but Gareth was always going to go and do something in football. He always studied the game. He was so knowledgeable. And as you said there, he was a bit, you know, I wouldn't say nerdy, but yeah, he was that school teacher kind of type. But
yeah,
you know, listen, he's done his hard yards in terms of coming up for the 21s, produce some good teams, some good young players coming through. And what I have liked is that he's been brave and played players that maybe, you know, I don't think other managers would have played them in terms of, you know, like Tammy Abrahams getting in there. It'd be interesting what he does with boys like Mount and the other ones coming through, because then we've got a lot of players in sort of similar positions, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
Out wide, you've got Sancho and Sterling and all the other people coming through. So it's exciting times for Gareth in the country.
No, definitely. And like you say, I think, to be fair, with the Euros getting cancelled, it might even help us. Like another year with all them lads coming through, it might be even more competition, mightn't it? Just before we move on to the midfield, Chris Coleman, you back him to come back into management. I know he had that sort of tricky spell at Sunderland, didn't quite work out for him there. Don't seem to work out for anyone at Sunderland at the minute, to be fair, or recent times. And then I think he went abroad, didn't he, to Asia. But do you back him to come back here and you know maybe get back in the Premier League or the Championship?
I think he'll get back in. I think it's really tough, because if you look at the managers who in the Championship, you go for, there's a couple of type of managers. You go for like the firefighter managers who are steady eddies, who you know you're not going to get relegated with. So there'll always be a job for a Neill Warnock type. And then you go for a younger manager like Millwall did with Neil Harris, and you know, a couple of others in terms of Nathan Jones and those kind of people there. I'd like to see him back in. You know, he's an infectious guy. Really good man manager. Really good. That's one thing that people who'd worked under him had said, that he was a good man manager and had time for his players. So listen, we hopefully we'll get back in at some point. Yeah,
no problems with that. Seems like a good guy. Yes, right. We'll move on to your midfield then. We'll go across from the right-hand side. Who's your right-hand side? Can you remember? I've got to remind you again, mate.
No, I thought I put Stephen Reid in.
You did, mate. You did.
Now, this lad there was, for me, he was a bit of a choice there, because he's another one. He could play centre midfield, right back, right midfield. He came through unbelievable at Millwall in terms of he was a steady player in the youth team. They had the likes of him. Paul Eiffel was another one I played with, was a decent player. But this lad here had an absolute pursuit of a right foot. I mean, I can remember him scoring goals in pre-season training games, and even going on to when he played with Blackburn and that. Just a really good pro, fit lad. Surprised me, to be fair, that he's gone on and done what he's done in terms of the coaching side of it, because I wasn't sure that was his bag. And fair play to him. He's a gentleman, by the way. He's
I remember not that long ago. He was in the players' lounge at Millwall, and he come over and had a good 10 minutes with me and you, didn't
he? Yeah. He's very down to earth, rooms, and in terms of, you know, as we're going back to the playing side of it, in a Millwall team that got promoted from League One, he had a season of all seasons and got himself into the Ireland squad. In fact, he actually went to the World Cup. Yeah. So that tells you the level of player that he was. Actually, you know, looking when he went to Blackburn, I thought he might have gone on again as well, to be honest with you. Good player, very reliable, great delivery of the ball. and that's why I put him in there for my right side.
Yeah, no, like you say as well, I think they've just looked at 23 caps for Ireland. You don't do that unless if you're not a top player, especially at that period that he was in the Ireland team. They was a decent side, like you say, got to a World Cup and stuff. So no, that's good stuff. Other flank, who's on the other flank?
I've gone for John Solako. So there was a couple of others I thought. The time I got at Palace, he was just breaking into the England team, and I think he might have done his cruciate, and he just missed out on might have been the Euros or World Cup. Unbelievably talented player for both feet. His crossing ability was unbelievable, in terms of he could dig a ball out from anywhere, score a goal, great finisher, really good amongst the lads, really good in terms of when the young ones coming through, himself and Richard Shaw were brilliant with myself personally. But yeah, a really good player, and to be fair, probably should have had a better career than what he actually went on to. I think he ended up with commentary as well, if I remember rightly. But at one point he looked like he was destined for the real top 4 or 5 clubs, because he was an absolute lethal weapon on the wing. He was.
Really, yeah. Because obviously I only really remember John Slarko, like I said, Crystal Palace, and then early sort of Prem years, like I say, he went on to Coventry and stuff like that. But he was actually close to like sort of England setups and that when he was younger, yeah.
Yeah, I think he travelled. I think he went to the the pre sort of tournament before one of the World Cups or Euros or whatever. I can't remember.
Really,
he played like the B squad, and I thought he was going to get in. I mean, in training, I kid you not, his ability crossing was unbelievable. I mean, when I first turned up, first training session, Brighty and Wrighty were up front, and they were the harshest people, because if you didn't put the ball in, they absolutely cane you. And so, and I mean, this is the old school, but that was John Solako's forte. He could put a ball on. He could put a ball in from anywhere. He was a really good player.
Yeah,
really good player. Good at a night out as well, Vince.
Oh yeah, see, that's always a bonus in my book.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Right, yeah, go on into midfield we go. Now, this like I say, your whole team, Bob, to be fair, fantastic side, but these two centre midfielders, mate, they're gonna take some beating in terms of a partnership. And I think by looking at it, from what I've heard on one of them, because I wouldn't have seen one of them play that much, but from what I hear, it's a good balance in there. Who have we got?
Well, I'm going to go for the first one, is Ray Wilkins. He became like sort of football dad for me. So I came across him when I was not sort of 19, 20 rings. I went on trial at QPR and I signed a short-term deal for I think it might be 3 months. And he just took me under his wing. And I couldn't believe someone who couldn't run, wasn't strong, his ball playing skill, his first touch. And he sat me down one day, and I remember they put a dustbin in the middle of the training ground at QPR, and him and Kenny Sampson from the penalty spot were clipping balls, and I'm thinking, no chance. And he's clipped, I might be 4 out of 10 in the bin. And I looked and I thought, I want to be like him in terms of my quality on the ball. And he was just, how everything about him in terms of, and then he ended up, I think we just got promoted and Palace signed him. And he was like, from me and Gareth and Simon Osborne, he was like someone who you can just go and ask him anything, and he had the answer for it. He was unbelievable. I mean, he played for AC Milan, and I can't tell you how good a player he was. And people think, Ray Wilkins. I think they called him the crab. He had every pass in the book. I mean, to be fair, you are actually both-footed. Probably yourself, Harry Arter. I can't name too many players where I go, right, you don't know whether he left or right footed. Wilkins he had everything in terms of a player. And I mean, even down to the fact that I think my boy played a cup final. They just won at Chelsea for his school team, the Nationals Cup. And Wilkins he was actually assistant manager at the time for Chelsea. He was actually at the game. I'm in the restaurant outside having something with my family, and he came over and said hello. And I just thought, you know what, never forget him. He's just top bloke. But what a player, honestly.
No, I was going to say,
it'd been someone that you'd like to play with him, didn't it? 5-a-side.
Oh, really? Yeah.
He could lend it, get it back. He had the round the corner moves. That's what we're talking about.
Love it. Yeah, because when I was looking as well, like just doing a little bit of homework on each player and stuff, and obviously everyone knows who Ray Wilkins is and stuff. But yeah, I looked. I think it's like 180 games. These would be only league games, Wikipedia sort of type thing. 180 games at Chelsea, 160 games for United, 73 games for Milan. Like, and he actually went on to then play for PSG as well. It's just like, and then he went to QPR and had like nearly 200 appearances. Like, it's a scary career, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, he's. Rooms. I remember the pre-season. We had some actually. I mean, I was a runner, and we had some flying machines. Yeah. He was up there with the boys in the long distance, and he was 32, 33. Oh, and I kid you not, the only person I could liken him to in terms of being a runner like that was, believe it or not, Phil Parkinson, the old Reading manager. Because when he was our manager at Colchester, he used to do pre-season with us. But Wilkins he was one pace, but he was just like on the point, everything. And he was the first person I'd ever seen Roons do stretching after training. Yeah, really? He brought that back from Milan. Yeah, he's stretching, and it something you'd like, Roons. He'd like a glass of red wine. Yeah, he'd like a glass of red, to be fair. But yeah, bless his soul. He's a absolute fantastic man, and I can't speak highly enough of him. Yeah, no, like I say, a massive loss, not just to football, but probably in general. I think I remember you hear so many stories about Ray Wilkins, and not many people got a bad word to say. I was just going to ask on that because for me, I think even when he was doing his punditry and stuff, I thought it was just superb. I did, like I say, every little sort of nugget, like every little story you hear that. There's some great ones out there online or whatever it may be, but with him, he was always really quite softly spoken, and he was very seemed intelligent, and he seemed pretty quiet, I thought. But he's saying what a good player he was. Did he have like that arrogance as well, where he knew he was a player, like he stamped his authority on the game? He would just go about his job. I mean, I believe it or not, the last game he played was actually probably the first game of that season we got promoted. We got spanked 6-1 by Liverpool. First game of the season, and I was actually on the bench. The manager Smithy ended up playing Gareth and Razor in midfield, and I think he'd done his metatarsal, and I come on we were 6-1 down. I come on. I didn't really want to come on, obviously, but it was amazing. Even when he was injured, how much of a vocal person he was. But as you said, he wasn't a shouter. He'd just get on with it. He would demand. I think he had an aura about him. There's very few players that I played with who had the one where he'd give you that look and you thought, right, you've got to liven up it. That was enough. Yeah.
Nah, listen, that's great. And like I say, God rest his soul. Partnering him in midfield then, a bit more modern day, you've gone here.
If you're talking about a balance, old school, arrive in the box, this was this kid. I mean, I played with him. He made his debut when I was captain of Millwall. And I remember him coming out to train with us, and I thought, he don't touch the ball. He don't get involved in the play. And the ball will go in the box. And he was an unbelievable timing of the run finisher. And he's the best that I played with. He was unbelievable. And I knew he was going to go and do really, really well. And if I look at it, you think to yourself, the modern era, the Lampard, the Gerrard, box to box, they were all better players than him in terms of on the ball. But actually arriving in the box and timing a header, this kid was unbelievable. Great lad. Played a lot of games for Australia. For me, just phenomenal talent. And at Millwall, it was probably, with all respect to Millwall, we played 4-4-2, got it wide, got the ball in the box, suited his style. I really enjoyed playing with him because I knew what my strengths were and he knew what his strengths were. And that's why I went for that balance with Wilkins and him, because Razor would like to sit out and get the ball, and this one would get on and score a goal. Yeah, he would score goals. He would probably score 20 goals in this Premiership era now, right now. Yeah, because especially if a lot of teams don't play over two, a lot of teams play a one and a two, and he'd have the licence to not cheat, but get ahead of the ball. And he was great at making a third man run. And he was an outstanding player and a really good lad, by the way.
Yeah, really. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Because you imagine him playing off someone like a Kane now or something, it'd be perfect, wouldn't it?
Well, you talk about Dele Alli. He was doing what Dele Alli was doing 10 years
ago. That's what I mean. Yeah, someone like that. Yeah,
100%.
Right, and they're, like you say, great balance in your midfield there. And obviously, you centre midfielder yourself. I mean, you'd like to have played in the middle of them two, don't you? In a three.
Yeah, I would have done. I think I'd have struggled to get in there though. By the way, yeah, I mean, you know, I missed that Alex Ray. I played with Alex Ray. I thought he was a fantastic player at Millwall. But Wilkins and Cahill for me were the standout too.
Yeah, no, of course. And just on that, Bob, then, yeah, because going through your team and then even some of the other boys that you've mentioned there, you've actually, but a lot of the boys you played with when they was younger, like when they was at the start of their career. So, and obviously, I'm sure a lot of people who know you, and if they don't know that you're involved with the academy there, Valenti, and also you're you've been working in the agency side of things for years now. Do you think playing with these players at the start of their career has helped you, like with spotting talent or and recognising the talent? Do you think that's helped you playing with so many good players at the start of their career?
Yeah, I think I'm more. I always say I believe it or not, I think I'm technically sounder now than when I was playing in the Prem, because you coach a lot. I spoke with Simon Osborne about this. You put little things on. I mean, you came pre-season with us with some of the young boys and Dean Austin and that, and because you've been brought up in with the right people around you, your standards for me, even then, last year was shone out. And I think what you just said there, spotting the talent. I think a lot of players these days in the academies, a lot of them are dribblers, which is nothing wrong with that. And then individual players, I'll probably look at a different type of player. I like a player who can play, who I could say can handle the ball, but can, for me, have a career in terms of not 1 year. A career is 18 years. And, speaking about you, when we took you to Swindon, I thought we'd be the making of you. And obviously, things happen, and whatever. And I thought, for yourself, in terms of how you played the game, that's why attracted me to someone like yourself, because you were good with the ball and you made things happen. I think a lot of players these days play safe, and especially midfield players. I mean, when you watch enough games like myself, and you see all these academy games, and they're all 10 a penny for me. It's most of these kids. They're all athletically good these days. I like the one who can unlock the door and see a pass and do something a bit different. And obviously, if you look at a Mason Matt at the moment and a Madison, I'll probably say you'd be thinking, well, I should do that yourself as a player. That's the kind of player I like to see as well, personally.
Yeah, no, like I say, to be honest, we do seem to be producing more of them now, don't we, as well?
Yeah, I think the coaching's better, Vince. I think the coaching's better. I think we're evolving and developing as a country with it. I just think the hardest thing now, would a Luke Rooney have got a game at 17, 18 now, because there's so many players. How can I put it? There's so many players in the big clubs who are not getting the game, so they then drift down into the system. So if you're at a championship club now, probably a good example is someone you had on the show the other day, Becky. If you look at him, he's had to go and jump again. Now, can he go again in terms of going into a Premiership club? Because the one thing you've got to be able to do in the Premiership, you've got to be athletically good these days, because they're all athletically very good. I would say I look at things like, you've got to see if the kid's a good mover. I mean, I've seen games where I've seen centre backs who not going to make it, but they've got the ball for 90% of the time. As soon as the kid goes 1v1 against them, they kill him. Yeah. They can't actually defend, but they're playing centre backs. Yeah, of course. Listen, certain people look for different things in players. I think you've got to look at players who are going to have a career, not now, but in 2-3 years' time. And that's we just went back there. Is the hardest thing you said about spotting a player. Yeah, seeing how they're going to progress and mature in it as well. I think, to be fair, like you said there as well, now in terms of playing at that top level, I'll say it myself. I think it's just, I think one of the best comments I've heard from anyone in ages, when I come down to pre-season and Dean Austin took the session, and he said, and probably a little bit, even when I was coming through, it was still more old-fashioned. It was like, a footballer. What he said was, being a footballer was like the best job ever. Like, back in your day, and a little bit probably in my day still. He said, but nowadays it's not. It's still a great job, and the money's unbelievable, even better now. But it's actually a lifestyle now, isn't it? It's a life. Like, it's not. Like you look. I looked the other day. Everyone's doing these 5K challenges, 3K challenges, and I've been running myself and stuff, and obviously not as fit as I once was, but
I see Ross Barkley's, man. I think he done a 5K in something like 16 minutes, 10 seconds. And, Ross Barkley, I don't know him personally, but he's someone who, he's been in the paper a couple of times, I've been out and stuff, but I'm thinking to myself, you know what? That's someone that's sort of almost questioning their professionalism, but that number's ridiculous for a 5 kilometre run, and you think to yourself, every time these footballers do go out, it does get highlighted. They probably, I would imagine, hardly any of them even have a drink anymore. You know what I mean?
I think it's tough in this modern day. I think the footballers getting scapegoated. Even Dan, I think my boy showed me something to do with a couple of the players who were tweeted something, and for me, it's kind of like your own privacy due to social media. That you have to be a little bit careful now, more diligent in terms of what you say, because things get taken out of context, and you end up getting panned. Even down with this COVID, when they were saying about all the Premiership players should take a wage cut, and I'm going, well, it's great. Everyone's saying that. But what about the other players who've got other people in life who've got high-profile jobs, earn a shed load of money, bankers, and that? I'm not hearing them being caned for not taking a pay cut. So I think the footballers at the moment, some of them getting a bit of a rough ride, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think, like I say, for me, I just don't listen. They get paid, a hell of a lot of money, and I accept that. But I just think, the sacrifices they make and stuff, and like I say, they have to change their whole life now. Like you can't do what players of your generation used to do, away from the training ground and away from the stadium. Right, let's go on to your front two.
I'll go for the. Well, I'm going to be harsh here. I'll go for the lesser one of the two first, but he's still a great. I thought he was a really good player, not great, but good. Chris Armstrong came to Palace for Millwall for might be £1 million, and first training session we're looking, and I'm thinking he's quick, he's strong. We did a circle, and I thought he technically was okay. Then we had a practice match over at the Midlands grounds. That's where we used to train.
Yeah.
And it might have been Salako. He put 2 balls in, and he just dispatched 2 diving headers, and everyone went whap, like unbelievable. And it was hard for him because he came in. I think Brighty had gone, and he was coming in really replacing him right. I think we had Brighty, we had a lad to Marco Gabbiadini when I first gone there, and everyone else was trying to pair. But I mean, to be fair to him, if you're talking about running down the sides of people in the channels, he was unbelievable. You could leave a ball down the side. And I remember a goal we scored one night at Wolves and Blackburn. He went down the side of Colin Injury. It might have been anything. He just stuck in the top corner. Unbelievable header with the ball. People didn't realise that. I mean, when he played with Tottenham with Teddy, he had a really good partnership with Teddy.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I have to tell you, an unbelievable person as well. What a great lad in terms of off the field, so much time for people. Was he a bit unlucky in the era where you had some, well, you probably had maybe England's strongest era of centre forwards. You had Shearer, Ferdinand, Wrighty himself, a few others, Teddy, Coley, so, he was a bit unlucky because he was a really good player, this lad. And it was always going to happen where a Tottenham or a bigger club was going to sign him, and unfortunately it happened at Palace. And I don't think Palace ever really recovered for a few years, maybe until, say, like an Andy Johnson turned up, where they got the number 9 they needed. Yeah,
no, like you say as well, especially good point about lads like this Armstrong. They probably do get forgotten a bit because they had many good centre forwards out at the time, coming through. Right, yes, we'll go on then to your main striker.
It was, well, seeing it right. I mean, I turned up at the training ground, little skinny black boy from Walthamstow, and he come and put his arm around me straight away, and I was like, wow. Trained with the first team, stuck a goal in, comes running over, give me a high five. I go home to see my mum. Go, Mum, here, right? It's unbelievable. Go back the next day. He's in at 10 o'clock doing his bits. I can't tell you. I mean, the most gutting thing for me is I never actually played a first team game with him. He got sold literally 2-3 weeks in, and he got signed at Palace. So my Palace trial weren't very long. I had a week, and ended up getting offered a deal. I had an offer from Arsenal, but Palace were a good fit for me. Some of the things I watched him do in training rooms, I mean, well, I don't know. I ain't seen anything like it. He was just an unbelievable finisher. But he had a horrible side. And I remember playing one of the first Palace teams to beat Arsenal. It was at Highbury, we beat them 2-1. And he was playing for Arsenal. And the ball was 80-20 in my favour. He absolutely radared me and looked at me like a piece of crap. And he was like, and I thought, after the game, he went, we're still mates and everything. But he had an edge, which sometimes made me bowled over a little bit, obviously, with Schmeichel and that. But he was a winner. I mean, in training, if you didn't give him the ball at the time he made the run, you were getting a volley full, like you've never known. Him and Mark Bright demanded standards every training session. And listen, he's done unbelievable as a pundit, but some of the I was watching it on Sky. He might Premier League, like 100 goals. Frightening player, and
different types of
just
goals.
Top bloke as well.
Different types of goals as well.
Yeah, he could score every goal, and he was blistering quick. He was brave. Who would I liken him to now? God, Aguero's different. He's powerful. I mean, I'm not sure. There's right. He scores 30 goals at top club now with his move, in terms of put him in this era now with his movement and his hunger and his desire. And the thing for me, what I loved about him, he came through the non-league route, sort of how I did. Came from coming out the grassroots and non-league, and mate, he was unbelievable. But the thing with him, he's still got a lot of time for people. Hasn't forgot himself as a person. That's probably why. But he was the best one. Neill Harris, I said, he was one of. If I looked at all, Neill Harris saying done what Armstrong and he might have done. So and Chop was a good friend of mine, but a very good player, by the way, Neill Harris. Yeah,
top player. I remember playing against him. Top player and top person. But going back to him, right on that, like, why do you think he came into the game so late? If he was that good, you know what I mean? Why did he come into the game so late?
I don't know. I mean, I think I was watching a documentary about 6-7 months ago, and he'd been in the trials. I think he went to Millwall, Charlton, and a few other places. Yeah. And I just don't know. It's one thing, Roons, in terms of the thing with Crystal Palace. They've always taken a punt on a youngster or coming out of somewhere who's a bit rough and ready. And Steve Coppell and Alan Smith, they were two big influences on me as a person in terms of my code of conduct, how I am now. And they saw something in Ian, obviously. And as you said, I'm not sure why it took someone or a club so long to pick him out, because he was just unreal. I mean, as I said, Charlie, some of the things he used to do in training was unbelievable, but just in the games when he went on to, at the time, Arsenal, I mean, Arsenal and Man United were the two clubs, weren't they? There weren't no Man City or Chelsea them days. It was them two battling out. And it was. I mean, the shame for him was, you had Teddy, you had Shearer, Ferdinand. He probably didn't play enough for England at the time as well. He probably looks back at that and thinks, a bit gutted with that, really.
Yeah, no, of course, yeah. Like I say, listen, top player, and I think he's the nation love him, don't they? I think he struggled a little bit in the jungle though. It weren't for him, was it? In there?
See him off. Likes his chicken and rice, doesn't he?
What's that?
I said he likes his chicken and rice.
That's why he was missing the grub. He was getting restless in there, wasn't he? To be fair. Right, Bob, that is a really, really, really good team there, mate. Before I let you go, obviously we get that posted up on the Instagram. I'll send it over to you and all that. No, listen, mate. That, like I say, just shows you, what fantastic career you must have had there to play with them sort of players, really. Before I let you go, a few questions. Spoke about players you played with there, mate. What about players you played against? Anyone stick out? Come to mind?
I didn't play against Gaza. I'd have loved to have just gone on a pitch with him. Cantona obviously was a really
yes, my hero. He's my hero. What was he like? Come on.
Yeah.
He was my idol.
I was subbed the night he flew in the crowd room, so he lost a bit of faith in me. Yeah, but seriously, he had an aura about him. I actually remember we were 3-0 down against Man United, and Paul Scholes came on, and I thought, who is this little ginger kid? Rooms, I can't tell you how good he was. He was
Really?
like unbelievable. And my hero, John Barnes. So
Yeah.
I made my debut against Liverpool. John Barnes was just Rolls Royce of a player. Other ones we thought were good. Klinsmann was good. We played against Tottenham. Klinsmann was a good player. He was a very good player. And I'll tell you a very underrated player that I always thought was a good player was Nick Barmby.
Yeah, a lot of people say that. One of my favourite coaches was Mickey Hazard, and Mickey Hazard said he always used to talk about Nicky Barmby. To me, he used to pester me about Nicky Barmby. He was like, because Mickey had coached and trained and played or seen loads of players, and like Nicky Barmby was one of the ones he always used to bang on about. And I was like, listen, he'd done well. He played for Liverpool, he played for Tottenham, played for England, but you wouldn't expect him to be one mentioned there, from someone like Nicky.
He's a good player. Saying that though, Rooms, if I'll be really honest with you, the one who I felt when you played against him, he had too much for you was Roy King.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I played against King. I actually did Crucial that night. We played Nottingham Forest, and he ran over me and Gareth in midfield. And really? I would think, and I could run. He would go. He talked about box to box. He would run. He'd make a third man run. And next minute, he's back in his own area and making a tackle, and he's not even breathing. He was an unreal player. And you're talking about modern day. I know people might think he's arrogant, whatever, but he could back it up. He was a top player, King. He had a lot. He physically, I'm watching some of the Man United bits, and he was scary as a player. Very good player.
Mate, for me, like you said, nowadays you've got people like, I'm a number 6, or I'm a number 8, or I'm a number 10. Like, for me, he was underrated. He could do everything.
Well, it's quite funny because he actually put himself. I think they were doing a mixed Man United and Liverpool best team. Yeah. And he was in the team.
Yeah, I've seen it.
He carried a shot. I tried to give him. He went. and he gave it. Well, what kind of player are you? He went. I could do everything. And it was like, yeah, but he could. He could sit as a 4. He could score a goal. He could break your leg. He could do a lot. For
me as well, the main thing that I loved about King, obviously I was a mad, mental Man United fan and stuff, and just, I've said it on the air a couple of times already and on In the Box that I'm the football boffin at that stage. And for me, like, how many times he passed forward? You were saying earlier about people who were too safe and stuff.
Yeah.
How many times he just passed the ball forward, like front man feet? You know what I mean?
Yeah, the big thing with, if you look at people talk about systems of play, Man United 4-4-2 during the 90s were unplayable. You had Hughes and McClear, you had Cole Sheringham, you had all those, but they always had midfield players who played to them, who'd run beyond. You Giggs, Sharp, Kanchelskis, Beckham. At the time, when you used to play Man United, you used to think you're going to get hurt here. Yeah. Liverpool, Arsenal didn't have that. Even Arsenal, they were really good. But they didn't have that aura where you thought you're going in there and you're thinking, right, you can get a draw. I think we drew 2 or 3 times against Liverpool, beat Arsenal, drew with them. But Man United, you'd get spanked. That was the level that they would I say they was as dominant as a Liverpool and a Man City now? I'd probably say they were Rooms at the time. The players they had. Really good team.
No, for sure. Right, yeah, last couple, man. I'm going to put you on the spot here, so let's see what we've got. Obviously, what you're doing with the coaching and your agency stuff and that, but if you could just have one piece of advice for young players listening out there, who, let's say whether they're at pro academies or even if they're at, academies like yourself where they want to try and better themselves, what would be your one piece of advice?
Stay humble. I'd stay humble as one. And the other thing is, I don't know whether you agree with this, Rooms, but the modern day player needs to ensure that the process all the time, they've got to work hard. And I know everyone says working hard and working hard. I'm talking about going there the one thing that I noticed in my era is that people wanted your place and you'd have to be that 1% better than everyone every day. Otherwise, you're coming out the team. There wasn't that squad rotation. If you were sub, you'd have to work your absolute balls off to get in the team, and you'd have to outrun someone, outwork people. I think a lot of lads these days are, I say, in the comfort zone a little bit in terms of their work ethic. And I don't know whether that comes from sports scientists where they say you've got to have a rest day and you've got to have this day. I'm going, if you look at when we played, you play Saturday, Tuesday, you get your Wednesday off, and Thursday you're doing a box-to-box 12-minute run. I remember at Millwall with Billy Bonds, every Monday, whether you won or lost on a Saturday, we were top of the league, we had to do 5 laps in a certain time. It sort of built your mentality, your mechanism, and the one probably a key word for him is resilience. How strong are you? Because I think you'd sort of align yourself to that point in terms of even at Gillingham, you think yourself, I'm never going to get in here, and I think you doubted yourself sometimes. You were in a dark place, and then you've got to have that resilience to go, right, I'm a good player. You've got to believe in yourself. Always got to have self-belief. I honestly think now, looking at it, opportunity, and you still need the key word luck. Yeah. You need a bit of luck. You need a manager to take the shine to you as well for what you are as a player. If you look at yourself at Swindon, some of the players you played with, like McCormack, Ferry, even Al Connell, and them got, you look and you think, so for actual pure raw talent, go on, was there a player, but who was a winger that used to play heady? Was he called Rafael De Vita? Was that his name? Yeah, he was good footballer, but I remember watching you playing a couple of games and best fan of the pitch by a mile, but you was always in a doubt that would the Canio play you and start you. And listen, you probably were to say that was one of the things that the hardest thing for you to gauge with a manager like that. And there's a few managers, they demand a certain level every day in training, don't they? You can't have a day off in training with some managers.
Yeah, no. Listen, what you say there about a resilience thing for me is definitely a massive factor in making it at any level of football. To be fair, spot on with that one. Won't go on to about mine, otherwise we'll go on for about 4 hours if we start talking about myself. But right, so a couple more. Obviously you played in the Prem, Bob. Fantastic career, many games, various levels, but obviously, like I say, played at the top and stuff. The majority of your career, if it wasn't the first division, it was the second division. Would you, you're obviously now still involved in football, and you see the money that's going around, and would you change what you had, the lifestyle, and when you played, and how it was? Obviously, you didn't earn as much financially, pro rata compared to what they do nowadays. But obviously, you could have your own life basically back then, like we were talking about earlier. Now, some of these footballers, their whole life's in the limelight. They obviously get rewarded financially, of course. But I was just intrigued, and I'm going to do it with everyone, sort of your generation I get on. Would you swap your days of playing for now?
I probably think the only thing I swapped was the money rooms.
Yeah.
The one thing that we had unbelievable team spirit. I mean, I remember running. I literally, you get out of the car, and we'd want to be on the training ground, and you'd have Mick McCarthy waiting for you to play 2-touch at 9:30 in the morning. Yeah. Or you'd be playing table tennis, or it was like a bit of a family thing. Even at Palace, even at Colchester with Phil Parkinson and that, I think the camaraderie, the team spirit and that, I don't think you can ever change. Or I think a lot of, probably because there's more foreigners in football now, in terms of the big league. And I don't think, for me, a big thing for me, I'd always appreciate the support as a fans. And I think the generation of players now forget that, without the fans and support, you don't have a football club, And I think that the social media platforms now are massive for players. So you can, in the right way, self-promote yourself more. Is it a good thing? Is it bad? Listen, I don't begrudge any of them. I think that, as you said before, they're getting a shed load of money, and it's a short career football. And, at the end of the day, the top players are the top players for a reason, because they work harder. You look at the Ronaldos and the Messis, and I know they're the two best players in the world, but there is a reason why they score the amount of goals they do every year, and they work harder than everyone else, and they've got natural talent. I think, are we going to find another Jamie Vardy type? I think probably we will do, but I mean, if you look at Vardy's kind of journey, that's for me. I'd always look at that for a young player and go, has Jamie Vardy changed anything? So flip it that way, Jamie Vardy plays the same way now as he did when he was playing in the non-league. Yeah. He'll make a bad ball a good ball. Whereas, you've got some strikers these days who don't want to run. And for me, if you're looking at a real identity of a player. Vardy, for me, is I love watching him play every game because you know he's going to trouble the different. Even though he might not have a step over and whenever you know that he's going to trouble any defender in the world because of he's honest. Yeah, and his honesty is the reason why he's had an unbelievable career.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But yeah, so going back to it now, money would be the only thing I'd change.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, no, seriously. Maybe a bit of the old sports science rooms. You know, yeah. I remember doing 1v1s on a whole pitch. I think you get sacked. I think you get done for the child welfare and safeguarding. Yeah, so sports science and all that thing. I think you could. I wouldn't have minded a bit of that because I used to like keeping fit in that. But yeah, and the old diet, Spartan's Kitchen. Yeah, it should be one of my favourites for him.
That's it, mate. That's it. Yeah. So what you talking about there as well with Vardy? I was talking. I think there was a quiz question yesterday. I can't remember what the question was, but the answer was Paul Dickoff, and he was another one, wasn't he? A bit like he wouldn't give the defenders a minute's rest, would he?
Horrible.
They're a rare breed, aren't they? A rare breed now, them sort of centre forward.
Yeah. Dickoff's a good player. He was unlucky because they had Kevin Campbell. Him and Kevin Campbell. You play against them. I think we played against them on a Saturday afternoon combination game, and they I think Coleman might be playing. They ran us ragged. Yeah, Dickoff was a really good player, underrated player.
Yeah, no, cool. Right, last one before I let you go. Crystal Palace or Millwall?
Let me go half and half here.
Go on, I'll let you sit on the fence for this one because I know you don't want to upset people.
Palace give me an opportunity, so they're massive love of my life, like unbelievable. Millwall, when I go back there, the fans are unbelievable on me. Jesus, when you are flying and you're playing with them, they are, I don't know, it's like put ears on the back of your neck. It's unbelievable. Still know a lot of the staff there. Yeah. Both clubs. It's really weird here. I really enjoyed playing for Millwall because they had an identity of how they wanted to. You know, it was all. You know, everyone was there for each other. I played with like Keith. There was another centre half there. There was Keith Stevens. People. His fellow was unbelievable. Was captain of the club for years. Became manager. Really, I think he lives out in Australia now. Yeah, I mean, listen, Palace. I go to both clubs. I do a bit on the radio for Millwall sometimes, and a bit of Palace, and they're both fantastic clubs. It was really weird to say this. My last actual club, Colchester, is a real unbelievable family club, but actually, you know, there's no sort of pressure playing for them, you know. But whereas at Millwall, you had a pressure for friendship, and if you keyword you said there, if you weren't resilient playing for Millwall, they see you off. Yeah. Great times, both clubs, all the clubs I played for, to be fair.
Yeah, no, that's right, mate. I'll let you sit on the fence for that one. To be fair, I know you don't want to upset.
Cheers, Rooms.
You don't want to lose your presenting job at Millwall, do you? Either, so.
No chance. Need me car park, Rooms. Car around the back of there.
That's it, mate. Now, listen, Bob, mate, thanks very much for coming on. Yeah, from a selfish point of view, I've enjoyed it, but I'm sure you know Palace, Millwall fans and will enjoy it. And like I say, I think the youngsters in the game as well will enjoy it. Maybe the ones at your academy, the ones that Lana at my academy and stuff like that. Anyone, I think, like I say, you've been there, done it as a player, and you're still doing it off the pitch for people. So thanks for coming on, mate. I really appreciate your time.
Rooms, I appreciate your time, mate, and you enjoy the sun and the glass of red wine, mate. All right,
that's it, mate. No problem.
Top man, son.
Take
See you
care,
later,
mate. See you soon.